All this shit going on in America, right? We all fucking know that. We got a lot of pissed off patriots, a lot of pissed off Americans that I guarantee, given the opportunity, they'll stand up. But the problem we're faced with, including myself, us as a true American, as a patriot, no, we can't do it alone. The biggest problem we are faced with is we have the numbers, but we don't have the numbers, if that makes any sense. We ain't congregated. We ain't together. We ain't organized. Our felonious government knows this. I propose this, and I hope America actually does this and quit being scared and being pansies. If you own a gun, which every American has the right to, it's our Second Amendment right, right? We have the right to keep and bear arms. The Supreme Court's already ruled on it. Don't need permits. Don't need none of that shit. We got all these illegals coming into our country. Pisses us right off. But here's the thing I think we need to do as an American. We need to uphold our Second Amendment right and carry all the fucking time. All the time. I'd show mine, but I'd get in trouble. And this video wouldn't last very long. Our pansy-ass government, which we don't need, by the way. The only ones we need is our troops and our generals. They know how to protect us. They know what the Constitution is. So all these politicians can go fuck themselves. But here's what we need to do as Americans. Carry all the time. Doesn't matter what you got. Hell, even if it's a damn BB gun, crossbow, bow and arrow, doesn't matter what it is. The pew-pews. Gotta be somewhat legit or this video won't make it very long. Carry. Don't hide them. Open carry. Show the immigrants, illegals, the world, show our country what we have. They want to try to instill fear in us. Well, we can instill fear right back in them. Don't be scared. You have a Second Amendment right to it. Doesn't matter what the fucking police say. The good police, which there are some, they go by the Constitution. They know. And of course we got the crooked cops. You know, they just go off of their political freaking captain's agenda to just be brainwashed and be passive and just following the footsteps of their fucking felonious government. We have rights, America, and one of them is our Second Amendment. I don't remember the percentage, but I'm pretty sure it's in the upwards of that America owns like somewhere in the lines of 68% of all the weapons in the world. Let's fucking show it.
All praises and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Ha-Rakah Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abababal. Alright, so as you just heard that terrified Edomite, alright, they want to put the, GUN in the immigrant's face. This would be Jacob's trouble, alright? Because through that chaos, they're going to bring forth the implantable microchip. They're going to make it mandatory for buying and selling, and they're going to use that chaos, alright, of a civil war, world war, famine, pestilence, to bring forth that MOTB, the implantable microchip, as the solution to your problems. But really, you got big problems, you take that implantable microchip. It says in Jeremiah 30 verse 5, "For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace." And you could hear it in that man's voice. He's scared. His eyeballs, you can see it in his eyes, he looked scared. You know, these Edomites, they're actually scared people, and that's why they carry that sword that was blessed to them to conquer the world. All right, even with a dog, you'll see a lot of these Edomites walking around with these dogs, and that's because they're afraid. They're very afraid people. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man did travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turned into paleness, which everybody's going to be afraid in this time, because it's going to become violent. Because this devil, his only answer is to come down violent, because he knows that he has a short time. He's running out of time, and he's getting scared. So he said it in that video. He said, the Second Amendment, our weapon is our power. That's the Edomite. The Edomite was blessed with the sword. All right. It says, Allah's, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. And that's who he wants to kill. That's who he wants to, he's promoting someone to get violent and show your Second Amendment right and put it right in the face of an immigrant, which the immigrants, for the most part, that they're talking about are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian, which been scattered throughout the world in slavery. All right, because they are the biblical Hebrew Israelites, and Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is the pretty much arch enemy of Israel. He's the devil. He's the deceiver, and he's the adversary. All right, the adversary to Israel, which he deceives the world. All right, and he uses that sword, the gun. Now they got nuclear weapons, lasers, to force their will on the earth, which it's wicked. So the earth is in a wicked state, and that's why the people mourn. It says, Allah's, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Talking about the hopeful elect that make up the body of Yahushua. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they ain't gonna be going to work pretty soon. How could you go to work when the Edomite, the so-called white man that you're standing next to, wants to fucking cut your head off, or put your wig back with with his sword? These Edomites, they even like to rape the same sex, right? So these devils, they're going to come down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. All right, so you're not even going to be able to go to work no more. All right, it says in verse 10, Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, which Yahushua is coming on a so-called UFO with the angels following him from heaven above, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, which were in this captivity under Esau in America and all over the world. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of it says, a full end of all nations. Whether I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Which these heathen, right, they're getting roused up to come up against Jake. And they also got their United Nations, because you got depopulate is what their plan is, the so-called white man. And that's what you got going on over there in the Middle East, a depopulation. Remember, this devil, the so-called white man, is the sword of the Lord. And the Lord's going to use him to depopulate the earth. All right, it says, Zechariah 14, verse 1, Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and thy spoils shall be divided in the midst of thee, for I will gather all nations by the so-called white men against Jerusalem to battle, talking about the Israelites. And the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, which just like you saw Gaza be destroyed, America's going to get destroyed like that too. But eventually nuked right off the face of the earth at the return of Yahushua. It says, and the women ravished, which the American women are going to be raped by these foreign troops, all right, as it's prophesied in the Holy Scriptures. It says, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, right, which they're going to put people into the FEMA camp, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. All right, so the Lord's using this devil, the so-called white man, as a sword. And he's cleansing the earth by depopulation, right? But then when this devil completes his job, the Lord's going to erase him. All right, so 2nd Ezra, let me see, 15, and I believe it's 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword, the so-called white man, and their destruction draweth nigh. That's why they're terrified. And a scared man is a dangerous man, because you don't even know what he's capable of doing. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Do you hear what that guy was just saying in the video I put with this? You know, he's talking about, hey, everybody get a weapon and go put it in an immigrant's face. It's your American right. Right? So you're going to have war in the streets of America soon. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, which in that video there was sedition. He was speaking against his government and invading one another. He's talking about sticking a gun in someone's face in that video, which is eventually going to become live. They shall not regard their kings, like, you know what he said that in the video. You know, who the fuck are these politicians? Nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, which the Lord's going to have them do it. It's only a matter of time. All right? The Lord's going to make them do it. It's written. And these words are faithful and true. It says, in that time, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because you're going to have those foreign troops, UN troops, the NATO troops, right, invading this place. And they're going to be destroyed, all right, with the nuclear missiles that the Lord has created using Esau, all right, the devil, the so-called white race, all right. It says, for because of the pride of the elite of the so-called white race, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? Which I just put up a video. You know, they saying that the gas could possibly go up to $300 a barrel, which that means a gallon of gas could go up to $12 per gallon this year, this month, October 2023, the year that we pray and hope that the Lord bring forth all this prophecy. All right, including the judgment of the wicked and their kingdom being destroyed, right? But we know that the implantable microchip has to come forth first. All right. It says in Zechariah 14:12, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So we don't have to fight for ourselves. The Lord's going to fight for us, and he's going to avenge us, and he's going to save us. It says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, but you got the prophets, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor, right? Which this happened back in the ancient world, you know. But this is going to happen again, which is called Jacob's trouble. All right, this time around it's called Jacob's trouble because this is going to be like a time like no other. All right. It says, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance, and so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right? So the ones that survive, which all the nations are going to survive, all right, for 1,000 years, but after that 1,000, the Edomite race is going to be made extinct, all right? But for that 1,000 years, all these nations are going to be enslaved under us, and we're going to teach them the ways of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, with the rod, and then we're going to, allow them to be released, as it is prophesied. We're going to release them when they fulfill their lot in slavery, and then they'll return to us like dogs that have been trained, all right? Because the heathen are nothing, all right? The Lord says that they are nothing. Isaiah 40, verse 17, it says, all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. So these heathen, they ain't shit. It's all about the Israelites getting in order, and the Lord's going to use that sword, the so-called white man, to destroy a lot of people, all right? He's going to kill them through different forms. Famine is going to be one of the worst ones. All right? In fact, it describes it as being one of the worst ways, in fact, to die. All right? It says in Lamentations 4, verse 9, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, because it's going to be like a couple days for you to die, You got to suffer while you wait to die, or while something else come and eat you. For these pine away, stricken through, for want of the fruits of the field. It says in Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 15, The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Alright, so the Lord's going to allow a lot of people to die through different ways, that the so-called white man, the red devil is going to be used to bring forth this death sentence on the 2/3. All right, but the elect, we're going to be delivered whether we live or die, because salvation is with us through Yahweh Shai. All right, so even if we die, we go to Yahweh Shai and we'll return with Yahweh Shai. All right, if we don't die, we'll stay here waiting for Yahweh Shai, and we'll see the downfall of our enemies either way. So all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Wow. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abababal.